Hello, friends. Welcome back to English Classes Online. My name is Benjamin. Today's video is on 7 keys to answering comprehension questions correctly in your English exams. This is part of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination English Preparatory Lesson. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Click on the bell icon as well so that whenever a new video is uploaded on this channel, you will be instantly notified. Without much ado, let's dive into the lesson right away. Now, we want to look at a brief agenda which comprises of why, what, and how. Number one, why is reading comprehension an important section in the exam? Two, what does the comprehension question require you to do? Number three, how to answer comprehension questions in the exam. And at this juncture, we shall be looking at the 7 key steps to take. Now, comprehension questions in the Wassce exam usually occur in section B of the English language theory questions. Now, you need to know that in the English exam, especially at the school certificate level, the senior school certificate level, you will discover that the theory questions carry more marks than the objective questions, because in the theory section, you are required to write. Of course, you need critical thinking in order to get the questions right. And if you are able to do well in this theory section, of course, you will do exceedingly well in the entire exam. Now, why is reading comprehension an important section in the exam? Of course, reading comprehension carries 40 marks. As I earlier stated, the theory part of the English language question exam always attracts more marks than the objective section. So that is why reading comprehension is an important section in the exam, because it carries 40 marks, all right? Other aspects of the theory parts include essay writing, which carries 50 marks, followed by comprehension, which carries 40 marks, and then summary writing, which carries 30 marks. Altogether, you have 120 marks in the theory section. All right, so you can understand that it is really a very important section. You will find questions in reading comprehension, questions on reading comprehension in section B. Now, to give you an overview of the theory part, you have section A, which is essay writing, section B, which is comprehension or reading comprehension, section C, which is summary writing. Now, let's go ahead. Comprehension is central to success in all fields of life, given that comprehension is about your ability to understand what you have read or heard, which will in turn enable you to explain, analyze, summarize, report, or respond to related questions. We are talking more about the importance of comprehension. And of course, you can understand if you check other videos I uploaded on comprehension, you will discover that comprehension has gone beyond the classroom. It's no longer just a matter of, passing your English exams. When you are looking for a job in a big organization today, most big organizations will want you to answer questions on comprehension as part of their aptitude test, all right, to test your skill, your ability. So it's really a very important skill. Now, your ability to answer comprehension questions correctly will help you to score up to 40 marks in section B alone, as I already showed you, and this will boost your overall performance in the exam. Now, number two, what do the comprehension questions require you to do? They test your ability to extract relevant ideas from a given passage in a manner that shows that you actually understood what you read. So comprehension, to comprehend means to understand, and from comprehend the word comprehension is derived. So comprehension means understanding. In other words, comprehension questions are meant to test your ability to read a passage or a given text and answer questions correctly on it. Now, for example, in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination of June 2020, we have these questions. These are not all the questions, but at least we have A, B, C questions from that. Now, question A, why did the writer's mother never inform her children of her intention to visit them? B, how did Mama while away the hours in the journey? C, state two difficulties Mama faced when she arrived Lagos. When you read the passage, the facts are there on the passage, and all you need to do is to extract the idea that will be the accurate or the correct response to each question. All right, so it's as simple as that. Although as we look at other comprehension questions, you will understand that while some are simple, some are a little bit complex, and there are different types of comprehension questions which we are going to look at. And I will show you how to approach each type of comprehension question. Now, number three, how to answer comprehension questions in the exam. At this juncture, we are going to examine the 6 key steps to take. All right. Step number one, read the questions first. Why should you read the questions first? Because reading the questions first will help you to have an overview of what the passage is about, even before reading the passage. It will also help you to know what to look for when you start reading the passage. And this, of course, enables you to read with a purpose. You can now scan for the answers right away. So it facilitates understanding and it saves time. All right. Now, step number two, read the passage carefully and make sure you understand what it is about. All right. Now, read for understanding. At this stage that you are now reading the passage, make sure you read for understanding. Make sure you understand what you read and read with a purpose. What does it mean to read with a purpose? It means you have to read with the intention of identifying the key ideas required for answering the questions. Now, this is because you have already read the question, so you already know what you are asked to look for in the passage. So you now read with the intention of identifying these answers, the specific information. So that simplifies the process. Step number three, go back to the questions and take them one by one, because the comprehension questions are usually many. You have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, sometimes up to H, all right? So because there are many, you cannot memorize them and begin to answer them offhand. You have to go back to the questions, and then you take question A, and then you go back to the passage and answer it. Then you will shuttle between the questions and the passage. So go back to the questions and take them one by one. How do you do that? Now, take note of the keywords contained in the comprehension question you want to answer. Now, let's look at this example. When you pick question A, which is why did the writer's mother never inform her children of her intention to visit them? Now, at this stage, you will understand. Let me show you certain things. All right. Now, if you are tackling question A, then you need to take note of the key words, you know, all right? Why did the writer's mother never inform her children? So never inform her children is part of the key words you need to take note of. Now, her intention to visit them is also part of the key. So we can just take it as a single expression. Never inform her children of her intention to visit them. This is the key idea. You know, let me say the key expression you will have in mind, and this is what you are going to look for when you read the passage. Now, if you are answering question B, then how did Mama while away the hours in the journey? Now, while away, of course, I also ought to have highlighted the others. So this is the key expression, all right? The key expression, while away the hours in the journey. Once you actually take note of the key word or the key expression that will determine what you are going to look for in the passage. When you start reading the passage in order to answer, when you are scanning for information to answer question B, what you are going to do is that you are going to look for this information, you know, how Mama whiled away the hours in the journey. So you note these keywords. So anything like spending time or whiling away the hours, you know, once you get to it, you know that that is the clue you are looking for. Now, if you are answering question C, then state 2 difficulties Mama faced when she arrived Lagos. You know, there were difficulties that Mama faced when she arrived Lagos. So this is the key expression you are going to have in mind as you are going to scan. You know, the scanning method of reading is the method appropriate for extracting the information you need to answer specific questions. When people go for a scan, they are looking for a specific piece of information. You know, there are different reading techniques. One of them is skimming. When you are skimming, you are reading, you are looking for ideas, you know. But when you are scanning, you are looking for a specific piece of information. And you are like someone who has gone into your room to look for a particular thing. And as you search the room, you are looking for a particular thing, for example, your purse. And the moment you find the purse, that ends the search, and then you pick it and that ends the search. So it makes your search simple because you are looking for a specific piece of information. All right, so having said this, let's now proceed. Let's try to undo this. Let's erase this, all right, so that we won't get confused as we go to other to the next screen, right? Okay, so that's the way it is. Okay, so now step number 4, scan the passage for the answer to each question. You see, I have shown you when you go back to the question, you pick the questions one by one. For example, you pick question A, and then you take note of the keyword or the key expression you are going to look for in the passage. And with that in mind, you begin to scan the passage. To scan means to browse through the passage looking for a specific piece of information. All right. So now, while doing this, you use context clues to identify the specific points required to answer the question. And what does it mean? I already showed you how to look for the keywords contained in the particular question you want to answer. Again, let's look at it. For example, all right. For example, in question A, you are looking for this particular piece of information. We already went through it. All right. These are the things you are looking for. Or you take the whole expression, never inform her children of her intention to visit them. You know, why did the writer's mother never inform her children of her intention to visit them? Once you take note of the key words or the key expression, those keywords will give you the context clue. A clue is something that gives you a signal that what you are looking for is at hand. All right. Now let's look at this. Okay, so here you can see exactly this is the key expression. These are the key words we are looking for. Now we get to the passage. This is what we find in the passage, and this is how we are going to, identify or extract the real information to answer our question. Now let's read through the passage, scanning for the answer. My mother never thought it necessary to inform any of her children that she would pay them a visit in Lagos at any time. You see, this is what we mean by context clue. Now, it is a context clue because it tallies with the keyword we are looking for. You know, why did the writer's mother never inform her children of her intention to visit them? And then we are reading, my mother never thought it necessary to inform any of her children that she would pay them a visit in Lagos at any time. This is a context clue. Once we get to this point, we become, we are at alert because we expect that the next sentence or sentences we are going to read will give us the answer, all right? And this is exactly what happened. The next sentence says, after all, no child would refuse her entry into her home. This is the answer to the question. So we take note of the context clue. What enables us to identify the context clue is the key words or the key expression that we pick from the question. The question gives us the keywords, and the keywords enable us to locate the context clues, and the context clues will take us to the real answer. All right. So this is exactly how to scientifically, right? How to scientifically identify the specific piece of information required to answer the question, the comprehension question. Once you master this technique, of course, it will make it easy for you to answer comprehension questions and you will answer comprehension questions with great degree of accuracy. All right, very, very accurate because you are using a scientific method. All right, so now let's proceed. Now, step number 5, identify the type of comprehension question so as to present the appropriate type of answer. Now, there are different types of comprehension questions. The few examples we have seen are examples of what we call direct questions or factual questions. There are other types of comprehension questions which we are going to look at. All right. Now, there are various types of comprehension questions, and each type requires a different approach. We are going to examine the various types of comprehension questions one by one and explain how to answer each type of question. Now, types of comprehension questions at a glance. Number 1, factual questions. All right. When you look at number 1, factual questions. All right. Factual questions. Number 2, all right, inferential questions. Number 3, grammatical questions. Number 4, questions on figures of speech, all right, figures of speech questions, if you like. Now, number 5, vocabulary questions, or what we can call questions on contextual synonyms. Some people call it questions on replacement of words. All right, so but we are going to look at these one by one, and then we look at different examples from past questions, past why questions, and then we examine how to answer each type of question. Now, step number 6, present your answers according to each type of question. So let's now begin to look at the various types of questions and how to present the answer according to the type of question. Let's start with the first type of comprehension question, which is factual questions. This type of comprehension question tests your understanding of the facts or ideas discussed in the passage. All right, they are also called direct questions because they require picking information directly from the passage. For example, the ones we already saw in the course of this video. But let's look at other examples, or let's pursue the examples we already saw. All right, now consider this comprehension question taken from the West African Senior School Certificate Examination of June 2020. Question number 6, sub question A. Now, why did the writer's mother never inform her children of her intention? Never inform her children or any of her children of her intention to visit them. Now, question B, how did Mama while away the hours on the journey? These are factual or direct questions. In the passage, these facts are clearly stated there. Now, just as we used the context clue, we looked at the keywords from the question, and then we spotted the context clue in the passage, and then we identified the specific answer. And the answer is that she knew she would always welcome. She knew she would always be welcome in her children's house. She knew that none of her children would refuse to welcome her in their house. So she never cared to tell them she was going to visit them. Okay, question B, she chatted with a fellow passenger. All right, she chatted with a fellow passenger. That was how she whiled away the time. So here we discover that, she chatted with a fellow passenger in the bus, and this is the answer to the second question. You know, how did Mama while away the hours on the journey? Now, once you get to the passage, you will find the context clue and then you will find the specific answer. These answers are facts, explicitly stated on the passage, and that is what makes them factual or direct questions. All right, so now the second type of comprehension question is inferential questions. Another name for inferential questions is interpretative. All right, because you need to interpret the information available in the passage to be able to arrive at the answer. The actual facts are not stated directly in the passage, so you have to figure out. It's like you need to do some calculation. You have to put 2 plus 2 to arrive at 4. Now let's consider questions 6A and B in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination of June 2018. Now question A is, what suggests that the show was free? Question B, what evidence is there that the performance was not a one-man show? These are all inferential questions because you need to figure out the answers based on facts implied but not directly stated in the passage. All right, so now let's look at this. Let's look at these inferential questions again. A, what suggests that the show was free? B, what evidence is there that the performance was not a one-man show? All right, so now if you look at the passage, you will discover that it is stated in the passage that the show took place openly under the big Iroko tree. So this, you need to figure this out, because the question is, what suggests that the show was free? So there is nowhere in the passage where it is stated directly that the show was free. This was not stated. But, because the show took place openly under the big Iroko tree, now this suggests, this implies, and then we can infer from this information, this piece of information, that the show was free. Because in a type of show, so this kind of question requires background knowledge, because you need to understand when a show is free and when people pay for a show. When people pay for a show, you see that it is held in a place where you have a gate. The place is walled and there is a gate, and as you enter the gate, you pay for it. All right, but here this is an open place under a big Iroko tree, and that suggests that the show was free. So you can understand what an inferential question is all about. It's the kind of question that requires you to interpret certain pieces of information to arrive at the answer. All right, then let's look at question B. What evidence is there that the performance was not a one-man show? You need the background knowledge of what a one-man show means. A one-man show is where you have one performer, one person who is performing. All right. But when you read the passage, you now discover that there were several performers. The magician was performing, then he had 3 aides who were also performing. Then there were also people drumming. So you have the magician, his 3 aides, and the drummers. Now, this is the evidence that it was not a one-man show. All right. So this is an example, or these are examples of inferential questions. Now, the third type of comprehension question is grammatical questions. All right. And as the name implies, you need knowledge of English grammar. You know, the questions will require you to state the grammatical name and the function of a particular expression taken from the passage. For example, question 6G in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination of June 2018. Now, this expression, which went along with the hilarious drumming, all right? So you can see. Now, question A, well, you can see that this actually is a kind of typo here. Let's correct it quickly, all right? Now, having corrected it, let's look at it again. So here, question AI, we have what grammatical name is given to this expression? Well, this is not actually A, this is a typo, so let's cancel the A. So you have question I, all right? Question I is what grammatical name is given to this expression as it is used in the passage? II, what is its function? You see? Now, these are grammatical questions. You need to know the English grammatical structures and their functions in order to answer these types of questions correctly. If you check at the description, on the description section, you will find, a video I've uploaded on, how to identify grammatical structures, their name, grammatical names, and functions. There is a video that will give you detailed explanation of how to answer questions on English grammar. But let's take a specific look at this. Again, you see question 6G, which the expression here is which went along. Well, let's try and get well, let's use a different method. Okay, so you can see here an expression is picked here which went along with hilarious drumming. All right. Well, let me use the annotation here for clarity. Okay. So let's try and use this. So you can see the expression. This expression was taken directly from the passage. This is the grammatical structure, the grammatical expression upon which these two questions are asked. Question I, what grammatical name is given to the expression as it is used in the passage? II, what is its function? Now, to answer these questions correctly, we need to look at the entire sentence from which the expression was taken. And then we use what is called the border principle, and the question method to arrive at the grammatical name and function of the given expression. Now, let's look at it. The entire sentence from the passage reads like this. Everybody was impressed with the feats which went along with the hilarious drumming. So you see, in the passage, you will see it underlined, just as it is here. Now, let's look at question I. What grammatical name is given to this expression as it is used in the passage? Now, to answer this question, we use the border principle. Now, here we draw a line. This is the border. And then the word that shares the same boundary with the underlined expression is the word fits. Then we need to understand the grammatical class, the word class that this word belongs to. That will give you a clue as to, what the underlying expression uh, is. Now, the word fits is a noun, all right? It's a noun. A noun is the name of a person or a thing or an idea, all right? So, fits. Now, we can see that this expression is telling us more about fits. So, let us now put a full stop here, and then we examine the questions that will naturally arise. Now, everybody was impressed with the feat, and then we put a full stop here. We put a full stop here. Now, if you hear the impression, this expression, everybody was impressed with the feats. Now, when you hear a statement like this, what are you likely to ask the speaker? What will you naturally ask? Everybody was impressed with the feats, assuming that you don't know what the speaker is talking about. What are you going to ask the speaker? Well, yes, which feats? Everybody was impressed with the feats. Which feats? Which feats? What are you talking about? Which feats are you talking about? You won't be asking what he's talking about. He has already told you, what actually you will be impressed with. But then what you need to know is what kind of feats are you talking about, or which kind of feats are you talking about? So now, once you are able to identify the kind of question that arises when you use the border principle, it gives you a clue to what this expression is likely to be. First, we have discovered that this is a noun, and then we have also discovered that the expression is telling us more about this noun. But now, the question that arises again gives us a clue that what we are looking for is what type of fits are we talking about. And the only grammatical structure that can give us additional information about the type of thing or the kind of person or the kind of idea being talked about is an adjectival element. It could be an adjective, it could be an adjectival phrase, and it could also be an adjectival clause. Now, having identified the nature of this expression, that it is adjectival in nature, then the next thing is for us to understand whether it is an adjective. Now, it's not likely to be an adjective because an adjective is a single word, like good, bad, kind, beautiful, ugly. All right, so a single word. An adjective is a word that modifies a noun or a pronoun, or a word that gives us more information about a person or a thing. But this is not a single word, so it's not an adjective. Now, is it likely to be an adjective phrase? Well, when we look at the expression which went along with the hilarious drumming, we discover that it makes some meaning. It's not a fragment. A phrase is a group of words that doesn't contain a finite verb and doesn't make complete meaning. It's simply a fragment. But here, this expression is more than a fragment. It makes some meaning. It expresses a certain idea which went along with the hilarious drumming. So this gives us the impression that this is a clause, and we have already known that this expression is adjectival in nature, and that gives us the specific answer that the grammatical name given to this expression is adjectival clause. All right? It's an adjectival clause. So that is exactly how to figure it out. And let us see how it answers our question. Everybody was impressed with the feats. You know, which feats? The feats which went along with the hilarious drumming. So it answers the question beautiful. Now, the second question, which is question II, is what is its function? Now, we can see that an adjectival element does the work of modifying or describing, and already we have seen the word that it's modified, and that is the word fits. So all we do is to give the answer clearly here. Modifies the noun fits. So you can see, again, you can see how the answers are presented here. This is how you ought to present your answer in your WAEC, Neco, or NAPTEP exam. You don't need to begin to write the grammatical name given to this expression is blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. Just write G, write I, and write adjectival clause. Write II and write modifies or qualifies or describes the noun fits. Full stop. So you can see that is the precision we are talking about. Each type of comprehension questions, it has an appropriate way of answering it. And this is precisely what I have shown you here. All right. So let's now erase this, and then we go to our next screen without getting confused. All right. So the next type of comprehension question is questions on figures of speech. Now, as the name implies, these are questions that ask you about certain expressions, what type of figure of speech a particular expression is. Certain expressions used in the passage are extracted, just like the grammatical expression, and then you are asked what figure of speech it is. Now, to answer this type of question, you need to also have background knowledge of what figures of speech are, such as simile. What is a simile? What is a metaphor? Personification, irony, euphemism, rhetorical question, oxymoron, and so on and so forth, litotes, various types of figures of speech, all right? You need to study them. You need to understand them. Now, let's consider question G. All right, question G in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination of June 2016. Again, you see an expression that is lifted here. An expression is taken from the passage, and that is like the wind. And then two questions are asked based on this expression. Question I, what figure of speech is contained in this expression? What does it mean? All right, so now to answer this question, the two questions correctly, we must look at the entire sentence containing the given expression. We'll go back to the passage and we'll extract the full sentence that contains like the wind. And this is what we have there. My cousins ran like the wind and escaped, leaving me to my fate. Now, this is the entire sentence. And then we see the underlined expression upon which the questions are based. Now, let's begin to tackle this question. Question I, what figure of speech is contained in this expression? The expression is like the wind. You know, this is a simile. A simile is a figure of speech that uses a comparing word, a word you use in comparing something. When you say something is like another thing, you know, the word like is a clue that an expression is a simile. Now, when you say as white as snow, you know, as is also a comparing word. So that gives you a clue is a simile. Now, there is a close relationship between a simile and a metaphor. Now, a simile uses an explicit comparing word, but uh, a metaphor doesn't use any comparing word. It simply says that something is another thing. For example, if we say that, you know, uh, Okonkwo was like a lion in the in the in the wrestling ring, we are using a simile. But if we say Okonkwo was a lion in the wrestling ring, then it is a metaphor. All right. So that's exactly how to figure out these figures of speech. Now, the second question, which is question II, is the meaning. What does it mean? Now, again, we have to look at the sentence from which it was extracted. My cousins ran like the wind and escaped. Now you can see when we put a full stop here, we can also use the border principle here. All right. And you see, my cousins ran. The question that arises is how? How did my cousins run? Like the wind. Now, what other expression can we use to replace like the wind that will actually collocate with run? My cousins ran very fast, or my cousins ran speedily. All right. So that gives you the meaning right away. My cousins ran very fast and escaped. My cousins ran speedily and escaped. So like the wind here is describing how fast my cousins ran. So that's how you arrive at the meaning of a particular figure of speech. Now, having looked at this, let's again erase our marks here, and then we go to the next slide and have it a clean page. Now, the next type of comprehension question is called vocabulary questions. And as the name implies, it's all about the key vocabulary words used in a passage. Now, I call these contextual synonyms. Contextual synonyms. What do we mean by contextual synonym? Contextual synonyms. Now, a synonym is a word that is, nearest in meaning to another word. But why do we call it contextual? Contextual because it is the meaning that is derived from how it is used in the passage. All right. So what is required here is more than just knowing what each word means. You must find out its meaning based on how it is used in the passage, and that is what we call contextual. The word contextual is derived from the word context. All right. The word context is the immediate linguistic environment within which a word is used. Context refers to the words that come before or and after a particular word, the words that are used together with another word. That gives you a clue as to what it means. All right. That is its contextual meaning, the meaning that is specific to how it is used in that passage. I give you an example. The word man can mean different things in different sentences. For example, if I say, that Adamu is a man, you know the meaning of a man in that sentence. Is a male adult human being. That is who Adam is. But if I say Adamu was asked to man the engine room, the meaning of man changes in sentence 2, because here man becomes an action and not a person. In sentence 1, man is a person, Adamu is a man. In sentence 2, man is an action. Adamu was asked to man the engine room. So the meaning of man in sentence 2 is to control the engine room, or to manage the engine room, or to supervise the engine room, or to take charge of the engine room. But it is an action anyhow. All right. So you can see that the words, English words, are like chameleons. Chameleons change their color from one physical environment to another. And so English words change their meanings from one linguistic environment to another. So you can see this is why you are asked to look for words that can replace another word as it is used in a passage. It's all about the contextual meaning. All right, so that is exactly. So the question requires you to find another word or phrase that means the same and can replace it as it is used in the passage. Now, having said this, let us now try to undo these marks. All right, let's undo these marks so that we will be able to go to the next slide. All right, so here we are. Let's look at question 6I in the West African Senior School Certificates Examination of June 2020. And the instruction is, for each of the following words, find another word or phrase which means the same and which can replace it as it is used in the passage. Then we have a whole lot of others. I, unimaginable. I, heartily. I, outrageous. IV, numerous. V, frantically. VI, fraudulent. Now, how do you answer this question? You go back to the passage, all right? You go back to the particular passage that contains these words. Then you look at how the passage, how the word is used in the passage, and that gives you the exact meaning. Now you can pause this video at this stage, then get your past English Y question, the year 2020, then get question number 6, which is the comprehension passage. Then read it and take note of the underlying words: unimaginable, heartily, outrageous, numerous, frantically, fraudulent. And then you will be able to find out how each word is used in the passage. You will discover that the meaning of unimaginable there means unbelievable. The meaning of heartily there means happily. The meaning of outrageous there means extremely high, talking about price. Now, the meaning of numerous there is many. The meaning of frantically there is very hard. The meaning of fraudulent there is dubious or dishonest. But you have to use just a single word to replace it. And this is the way you ought to present your answer. All right, so having said this, let's go to step number 7. And this is the final step that you need to take in order to answer your comprehension questions correctly in the exam. And at this stage, you cross-check your answers and make sure they are all precise. Now, one thing that is important in comprehension questions is precision. You need to present your answers in simple sentences where necessary. You will understand that in some cases, you don't require a sentence at all. You simply state a single word or a phrase as the case may be. I've shown you different types of comprehension questions and different appropriate ways of answering them. All right. So where sentences are not necessary, you simply state your answers in words or in phrases as exemplified above in the case of grammatical questions, figures of speech, and vocabulary questions. All right. In grammatical questions, you will remember that we simply answered the question adjectival clause without making a sentence. And then in terms of the function, we simply said modifies the noun fits. Now, when we came to figures of speech, we simply stated the word simile. That is the name of the figure of speech. And in terms of the meaning, we simply said very fast. Now, when we looked at vocabulary words, we simply used single words or phrases to replace the given words. And you know, when answering a factual question, sometimes you require a short sentence. All right. So, but the important thing is that you need to be precise. All right. And once you have cross-checked that your answers are all precise, then you need to make sure that your answers are also free from grammatical or spelling errors. All right. And once you confirm this, yeah, then of course you can submit your script. You can beat your chest that actually you have done a good job and you expect to score high, you know, and possibly win the maximum marks. Yes, it's possible to score the 40 marks in comprehension. And imagine that you score 40 marks, the maximum 40 marks in comprehension. Then you go to summary, you also score the 30 marks. In these two sections, it's very possible, it's quite possible to score the maximum marks easily. And that will give you a huge lift, all right? Then if you also check the description section, find out the video on summary writing, find out the video on article writing, speech writing, argumentative essay writing, uh, uh, um, letter writing, then you just pick a particular essay writing question and answer it in your exam. And once you follow the tricks and techniques discussed in the video, you will win maximum marks. Of course, you can see that it is quite easy to obtain, to score A in your English. All right, the almighty English that a lot of people keep, you know, obtaining F9, you know, recurring failure in the exam. That should not really be your portion, but you need to master the skills in order to really score high in this exam. So this is really where we are going to draw the curtain in today's video. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and I really hope that you have, you know, uh, gained the appropriate benefits that will help you to uh, answer comprehension questions correctly in your English exams, whether it is the uh, West African Senior School Certificate Examination or WAEC English or Neco or NAPTEP, or in fact any other exam, whether it is even an international exam such as IELTS or any other exam. Once it is a comprehension question and you use the techniques here, then of course you'll be able to figure out the accurate answers. So if you have enjoyed today's video, like the video and share it with your friends and relations. If you have not subscribed to the channel, the time has really come. You will agree with me that you need to really hit the subscribe button below. The red button you will find tagged subscribe. Just click on it and you will be subscribed to this channel. This is Benjamin's brand channel where English is simplified and where we talk about other important topics that will not only give you proficiency in English language, but teach you content creation, content marketing, digital marketing that will, you know, help you create multiple streams of income if you are desirous of, starting an online business, which of course is, a business everyone ought to do, especially in the in 2021. All right, so this is how it has been in today's video. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you have any concerns, or you have any topic in mind that you would want me to discuss in subsequent videos, please leave your comments in the description, in the comment section below. You will discover that I am sensitive to, suggestions and comments from subscribers on this channel, because all of you out there are highly valued subscribers and viewers. Even if you are not subscribed to the channel and you make any comment, I take it quite seriously, because I value all of you out there who have made out your time to view the videos on this channel. Your time is highly valued as far as we are concerned. So if you have any concerns, any comments, any suggestions, we respond promptly. Now, it might interest you to know that today's video is actually a direct response to someone who suggested that I should treat more examples, on comprehension. So I have uploaded a number of other videos on comprehension, but this particular viewer wanted me to give more examples to discuss the topic from new angles, which actually I have done in this video. So, and I want to really say a big thank you to all of you out there who have actually been very helpful, very supportive, of this particular channel. It is with your support that we have been able to go beyond the 1,000 subscribers mark. We are now inching closer to 2,000 subscribers, and we are also very close to the 4,000 watch hours. The last time I checked, we already have over 4,000 watch hours, but I discovered that YouTube specifies what they call public watch hours, and that specifically on my YouTube studio stands at about 3,600 and something. So in no distant time, we will actually hit the monetization mark. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you out there who have actually found value on this channel and have been quite supportive of the channel. I want to say a big thank you, and I pray that the Almighty God will also bless whatever you do in any field of endeavor you operate right now. I pray that God will bless you abundantly. See you in the next video, and remain blessed. Many thanks for watching today's video. A big thank you to all of you out there for being part of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, kindly subscribe to this channel. Subscribe now as a way of giving us support. For notification about new videos, click on the bell icon. You will find the bell icon. Click on it so that whenever a new video is uploaded, you will be instantly notified. If you have actually enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends and relatives. This is very important. If you have any comments, leave your comments below. Any questions, any suggestions, we would gladly receive them and respond promptly and positively to them. See you in the next video. I look forward to always seeing you in the new video. Thank you.